In a few weeks, there's going to be elections in Jerusalem for the mayor. And so a few days ago, I read a really interesting article by Sivan Rahav Meir. She writes every week an article for, I think, for Yediot Achronot on the Parsha. And so she interviewed both of the candidates for Jerusalem mayor. And one of them, who's the present mayor of Jerusalem, his name is Nir Barkat. And Nir Barkat said something very, very interesting. It was a very interesting blessing that his father gave him, and this really caught my eye. And I wanted to talk with you, Jewish moms, about it. So his father gave him the blessing. He said, so Nir Barkat remembers. He says, when I was little, my father would bless me with two blessings. He would bless me that I would pay a lot of income tax. And that I would serve the public and receive 1 shekel a year in payment. Okay, so this is very interesting. Well, first of all, the father's blessings were actually came to be. So Nir Barkat actually made a ton of money working in high tech, I believe. So he has paid a ton of income taxes, and now he does serve the public and he earns as a salary 1 shekel a year. So I thought this was really, really interesting, because usually, we talk about, like in life, we talk about chavot and zchuyot. We talk about privileges and obligations. Like there's like the hard stuff that we have to do to get to the fun stuff. Like the hard stuff we have to do, like as a mother, to get to the like, let's say the mother, the hard stuff is, you have to change diapers, and you have to deal with tantrums, and you have to make food, and you have to keep the house like somewhat tidy, and you have to educate your children. Like it's a lot of like hard work, but then you get the nachas. You get to like have great Yiddish children, and see them getting married Bezrat Hashem one day, and but there's like the hard work. So but the funny thing is that usually, like as parents, like we bless our children, what we bless our children with is the zchuyot, is the fun stuff. Like I bless you that you should be happily married and have so much nachas from your children, and have health and happiness and a lot of money and parnasa and all good things. So it really, really caught my eye. Like, what's this about? Why is Nir Barkat getting this blessing to like pay a lot of income tax? Why is his father blessing him with the hard stuff? Okay, it's interesting. And so I was thinking about this again because I was reading in Family First, which is part of Mishpacha magazine. So there's a great column there that I read every week by psychologist Sara Chana Radcliffe, and she's talking about and the title of this column is Self-Sacrifice. The messages we've been given about happiness are flawed. So this is what she writes. If it doesn't feel good, it isn't good. This philosophy assumes that a person can tell whether an activity is good or bad based on the way it feels in the present moment. Okay? Sometimes the payoff for an activity comes only through trials and suffering. For instance, someone who becomes a great athlete or musician usually encounters significant struggle along the way. If that person is thrown in the towel during hard periods, he would never have achieved the greatness that, in the end, brought him so much fulfillment and pleasure. The self-sacrifice required in family life can lead to meaning, richness, and deep satisfaction. Loss of sleep, of time for self, of personal freedom, and all other losses incurred in raising children and building a strong marriage bring immeasurable gain in lasting love and true personal fulfillment. Giving up temporary pleasures for the kind of pleasure that successful family life ultimately brings is what Jews have always been willing to do. Fewer vacations, leisure activities, and moments of undisturbed quiet translate over time into more of everything that really matters. A life rich in Torah, a life of true accomplishment, and the deepest sort of personal fulfillment. Isn't that nice? So, but we still have a question. So, like, let's say, now it's like the end of summer vacation. I personally feel like I'm like up to here. It's not easy. Like my kids are on vacation, and my kids haven't been in camps like for a few weeks, and I'm finding ways to take a few hours here and there to work on the blog, but it's a lot. So when you're doing that, like when you're doing the tough stuff, when the fun stuff, is not even anywhere on the horizon, it's like beyond the horizon. So what are you supposed to do? Like, how are you supposed to motivate yourself? Like, all these ideas are very nice, like, just imagine what's about to come, what's over, but it's hard right then. So it's hard right then when you're in the hard stuff, when you're in the chavot, when you're in the tough stuff. I was just thinking this morning about a conversation that I had with my Rabbanit. Her name is Rabbanit Tami Samet. And so maybe I've mentioned before that my husband and I, we don't have any family here in Israel. We have like, actually, I have a very, 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 very distant like cousin, like maybe like a cousin 10 times removed, something like that. But aside from that, we don't have any family here on both sides. And so we, Baruch Hashem, we were really blessed. We had this amazing family. It was my husband's rabbi in yeshiva, Rabbi Yisrael Samet, and now he's the rabbi of the what you call the Garin Tarani, of like the national religious community in the city of Lod. So they are our adopted family in Israel. So I was speaking a few years back, maybe about even 10 years ago. I was speaking with Tami, with Rabbanit Tami, and asking her, like, I saw that I noticed that when she gets ready for Shabbat, she does it with like a lot of simcha, with like a lot of joy, and she's mopping the floors, and she's like making up 3 kinds of chicken and all the different salads, and making the challah or whatever and she just is so happy about it. And I was thinking, like, what is that? Like, by the time I'm getting ready for Shabbat, I'm just like, another thing to do, another dish to wash, another thing to make, and so I asked her at the time, I was like, how do you do this? I notice you're so happy. And she said, as though it was obvious. She said, I feel like we are building we have such a wonderful thing here. I love having Shabbat with my family so much. I feel like it's just such a wonderful thing. So I enjoy the preparations as well. Isn't that something? So I think that I, Baruch Hashem, like under Tami and other wise people's influence, I've also been able to, been able to attain more of that in my own life, enjoying the process, because I know that it's leading up to something amazing. But I think that this is the goal, and this is the secret, Jewish mom. So I want to bless all of us. When we're doing the tough stuff, when we're involved in the tough stuff, the kids are fighting and they need to be fed again, and another diaper to change, and this one just threw up in her bed, chas v'shalom, things like that. That we should remember what's coming, and to feel that happiness then, to somehow bring the future into the present. I remember I had a teacher, and it was when I remember I had like 3 teensy kids, and I was sort of falling apart. I think it's the closest I've ever come to a nervous breakdown. So I had 3 kids, and I asked her, like, what am I supposed to do? She was like an older mother with I think that all of her kids were married by then, and she said, imagine the photo album. Imagine the photo album of all your kids. Just imagine you in the center of all these, of your photo album at your child's wedding. What that picture is going to look like, and all the married children, all the beautiful children, and you raised them, and you and your husband are Bezat Hashem in the center of that picture, and all the nachas of that picture. So I want to bless all of us Jewish moms that we should be able to bring the nachas of the future into the hardships of the present, so that it will make also our present, also like the tough stuff, so it'll make it somewhat wonderful as well. I want to bless all of you Jewish moms with an amazing week.